What's up, Kansas City? It's Tiffany Berry here, and today I am sitting with Mr. Murray Anderson. He is the executive producer at the Visionary Impact Theater. How are you today, Mr. Anderson?
I'm good. Tiffany, I'm good.
Oh, that's good. So today we're going to talk about business, black business, African American businesses. But first, I would like you to tell everyone what is the Visionary Impact Theater.
The Visionary Impact Theater is a entertainment complex. It's kind of multifaceted. We're playing rhythm and blues and jazz and Latin pop, as well as gospel. We intend to have a gospel brunch that will run from 11 until 3 in the afternoon. And one of the pieces or skits that we want to do during that period is to have someone preach the devil's funeral for 3 minutes as a part of our prosperity message, because the devil is poverty and despair. And so we want to try and keep that prosperity message in front of the people in Wyandotte County and in the greater metropolitan Kansas City area, particularly those who are interested in or pursuing a pathway that says that they want to build wealth, because we need to concentrate and invest our time and energy and intelligence and innovative skills in building wealth in our community.
Most definitely. As far as your theater that you have going on, how important was your economic need, your financial need? How important was that when opening up this theater?
Well, that's a good question, because first of all, in pursuing this opportunity, number one, I was undercapitalized, and quite frankly, I still am. But regardless, if you're practicing entrepreneurship by necessity, you have to go forward no matter how difficult the pathway may look, and whether or not you have all of the resources that you need in order to be able to make the next step. You have to make that next step, regardless of those circumstances. With that said, the main problem, the number one problem that we have in our community, in the greater metropolitan community, across all minorities and cultures that are functioning in the underserved marketplace, is that we do not in fact have access to capital. We do not have equal access to capital. It is an enormous problem, and it's an enormous challenge to overcome. We need to have access to the appropriate tools in order to be able to raise private capital, and that hasn't happened. We're challenging ourselves to actually establish a seed and venture capital fund so that we can, in fact, begin to transform our community and also grow a successful business, because you can't grow a successful business without capital. It requires capital. You must have working capital. You must have resources to hire the kind of talent that you need in order for you to realize your business plan. And we don't have that. And unfortunately, our politicians in the community on both sides of the state line aren't diligent enough to address those questions. And the solution is simple. If we had the tools in our hand to raise private capital, we would be able to compete in the global financial markets, which is where you really have to go if you're talking about raising a substantial amount of capital, which also means that you either got to do a private placement or become a public company as a seed and venture capital fund in order to, in fact, raise private capital. And everyone knows that there's trillions of dollars sitting on the sideline around the globe. Major problem for us is that our financial leadership in this country have not challenged the Treasury and the Federal Reserve System to use those tools so that we can compete in the global financial market. from 6th and State or 5th in Minnesota or 18th and Vine. We just haven't brought the right argument to the table.
Absolutely. Most
with,
definitely.
with the most powerful financial institution in the world, which happens to be our central bank.
Now, there was a few words that I heard you say. Entrepreneurs, politicians,
Yes,
financial leadership.
right,
I heard the word problem, capital.
right.
So with that, do you believe that our African American leaders, our African American politicians, that have the power to make choices, do you feel as if they are making those choices in our interest in the urban community?
Well, in my view, they're shadow boxing. They're not even in the real fight, because the real fight is at the top of the food chain with the United States Treasury and the Federal Reserve System, because it's those tools that exist in the Treasury that we must access in order to be able to transform a community. Otherwise, you're shadow boxing. You're not in the fight. And that's where the argument has to be delivered. And it's about having equal access to the credit instruments, the global credit instruments, and it's called the full faith and credit of the United States government. If we were a third world country and had favored nation status with the United States, we would be able to borrow money from the World Bank at the very lowest interest rate. We would be able to access financial guarantees of our government in order to be able to qualify for global financing, to have access to global financial institutions in order to be able to change our circumstances. But we don't have that. But also the financial leadership among the minority bank holding companies have never asked the right question. And it's evident that, there's no magic associated with that question, because the Federal Reserve System demonstrated how creative it could in fact be during the financial crisis, which really exposed our system to, or exposed the people in our country to all of the tools that have been available since 1933. And I'm talking about the Federal Reserve Act that under 13.3 that was the enabling act that Chairman Bernanke used to stabilize the global financial system between he and then Secretary Paulson, when the financial institutions in our country were in fact insolvent.
Okay, so with with all of that, and with all of with everything against small businesses, black businesses, what do you believe is the one major problem beside a financial problem in the small African American businesses and entrepreneurs?
Well, quite frankly, I can't. I don't identify any other problem, because the problem is certainly not having equal access to information. Because the advent of the internet, everyone has access to information,
Right.
and we can go to the libraries, and we don't. We're not prevented from having full access to information. So you have the ability to educate yourself financially. You have the ability to seek out the tools and resources at university systems like the University of Missouri of Kansas City and the the Entrepreneurial Center there at the Block School of Business and Public Administration, and or the Kansas State University, which has a Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship and all the entrepreneurial programs that exist at the community, college, level. So having access to knowledge and information is not a problem. It's not an impediment if you have the passion and desire to seek out the right information so that you can make intelligent decisions. The major huddles stumbling block is, in fact, again, having access to capital.
Absolutely.
You can't build a community on loans and grants. You can't expand an economy on highly leveraged loans and grants. You must have access to equity capital. And that's the difference. That's why Wall Street exists, because it provides capital to all of the industries that drives the global system. And we need to use those same tools.
Absolutely.
From 18th and Vine and 6th and State in Kansas City, Kansas, because we have the intelligence to ask the right questions and understand how to use those tools as a solution for our problem that we have. And that problem is having the ability to raise capital, because the field is not level. The playing field is not level. But those tools, that tool provides you, is just like, is as powerful as the rod that Moses had in his hand when he parted the Red Sea, in economic terms. And that's what we must have.
Most definitely. Well, is there any additional information you'd like to get out? How can people contact you for your Visionary Impact Theater? And, phone, well, as far as email, phone number?
Phone number is 913-210-0699. My personal cell number is 913-314-0934. We're located at 1017 North 6th Street in Kansas City, Kansas. If you check out Deal Saver, you'll find all of our offerings there on Deal Saver.
Absolutely. Well, Kansas City, make sure you check out more videos of What's Up Kansas City. I hope you learned something today. And remember, if you don't grind, you don't shine. You don't work, you don't eat. So make it make sense, Kansas City. We're out.
I'm IFBB Bikini Pro Cat Williams, and when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm searching the web on Cascade Media and What's Up Kansas City. So make sure you check them out.